last night.
Well, that's a good start. Oh.
Right. All good stories. Let's start at the beginning. So, well, first of all, Julie, thanks very much for taking the time of day for this YouTube movie. And why don't we start off with your story and how it all began?
Right, it all began back in 2011 when I came back to England from Italy after living there for nearly 30 years to open an Italian restaurant. Along the way I sort of got lost in this and I ended up with a museum and a veterans hub. So I first started putting my first poppies up in pictures 2012, and it was going to be just a small remembrance wall for one Remembrance Sunday, and I just got lost in the poppies. I just started putting them up. I ended up with 90,000 poppies on the ceilings and on the walls, all put up one by myself. And then World War One, I covered World War One, World War Two, conflicts like recent conflicts. People started sending photographs in of their loved ones, asking me to put them up from all different conflicts. So it was any conflict was covered, and I put them up as they were coming in. I was putting them up, putting them on Facebook. Then I started doing the crosses, so I covered Afghanistan, Iraq, Warren Point, Falklands, Northern Ireland, Shot at Dawn, and then people started sending memorabilia in. So that's when people brought uniforms in that they've had maybe belong to the son or their granddads. They'd bring them in for me to put up. So I ended up with uniforms, then buttons and coins and pictures. And then weapons started coming in, so people brought deactivated weapons in, and we ended up with an armoury. So every time something come in, I would put it up.
I bet the police loved you.
Oh, they did. They've been. They've been and checked everything, so I've got all the certificates. I got quite a lot of them from the Victoria Cross Trust. They came on board with me when I took this building on. I took this building on 3 years ago during lockdown. I had to leave the premises that I had in Stockton. 1, I'd outgrown it. 2, I couldn't afford to stay there any longer. And 3, I needed a building to house everything that I'd got. There was a lot of memorabilia that I couldn't put up there because there wasn't enough room. So I found this rumbling building during lockdown. Raised funds with the names on the floor as you see here. People donated and we got the big jobs done. £120,000 has been spent on the building up to now. There's still a lot of work to do on it, and I'm convinced, and I think I said this earlier to you, this is not the final resting place, because it doesn't matter how much money we throw at the building, it's never going to be our building, and we need somewhere to keep this place safe for the future. It can never be disbanded. I put everything up. I come in every day, put the memorabilia up, but once I am no longer here, can no longer do it, I want it to stop there, because I want to leave a legacy for our veterans, and that's the way it's got to stay.
That's good. Yes, you're going to leave your mark for the future.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I definitely want to leave a legacy, and this is my thank you to all our veterans, and it's a passion that's overtaken my life. I mean, I only came back to England for 10 years, didn't know that I was going to have something like this, and now I can't go back. It's not just what you see as well, it's what goes on behind the scenes with the veterans. I mean, I am 24/7 on the phone if anybody needs me, and I walk around with my phone actually down the belt of my skirt, so that if it rings I've got it there with me as well. It's a reach out point, and it's the first port of call for a lot of the veterans.
Yes, I think it's good that someone like yourself has got a personal interest, and it carries the memory on of all the armed services, no matter which conflict or what part of the world.
Yeah, it's a thank you, it's my thank you to them, you know, and if it wasn't for them we wouldn't definitely not have our freedom today. And if anything ever happens, well, I think the military, people have got a bad concept of it. They think about just war. They don't think about what the military do when we have emergencies as well, all over the world. I mean, the first people we call are either the veterans or the military. Lockdown, where were all the veterans? They were on all the COVID sites. They were working all the way through lockdown, and they were helping people, you know, and they were doing the emergencies, as they always do. And we've got a lot to thank our forces for, past and present.
Yes, there's a lot of work goes on behind the scenes that's not appreciated by the general public.
I know that. And it's quite sad, really. And I don't think they get the support that they should get as well from our government. And it's very, very sad to say, because when the government needs help for our country, who do they call?
That's right.
Certainly not the Ghostbusters, it's our military. And it's true, but they don't get no reward for it at the end of it. They're just abandoned and left, you know, they don't.
Well,
It's sad.
can't tar politicians all with the same brush.
No.
But sometimes I get the feeling that they order men and women into conflict, and they've got no concept of the lives that are being
No,
risked and taken.
I know. And it's sad. I mean, I sit down with a lot of our veterans and I get their stories, you know, they do talk. I've cried with the veterans, quite a few of them to be honest, just listening to the stories and what they've gone through and what they've had to do. And it's that's my inspiration, and that's what pushes me on, I think, their stories. So I absorb everything they tell me, and it gives me a drive to carry on doing what I'm doing as well, you know.
So when you was in Italy,
Mm-hmm.
how many years did you say?
27, 28 years.
Speak the language?
Yeah, fluent. Yeah, yeah.
Fluent? Yeah. Well, I would imagine after that amount of time, you would do.
Yeah, my
Having
daughter.
said that, I lived in Thailand for 7 years and started to learn a bit of Thai.
Mhm.
But we're expats out there, like 30 odd years,
Yeah.
and besides thank you and hello, they couldn't speak anything but English.
Yeah. No, my
I
family's still there.
Oh, so you left family behind?
Yeah, I left my daughter and my grandkids behind, yeah. And the first time they ever saw this place, and bearing in mind I've been doing it since 2012, first time they ever saw it was last year. They'd never been to England to see it. And do you know what my daughter said to me as well, because she knows how much of a passion I've got for this place, and it takes a lot to get me on holiday, it really does. She said to me, she'd spoke to some of the veterans, and a lot of them made it their business to speak to her because they wanted to know her. And she turned around and said, now I know why you're not coming back, and I know why this place is so important for you. So that was like her blessing to me, you know, to say
Yeah, she understood.
she understands, and that meant a lot.
That's good. Because when your family's in disagreement to a decision that you've committed yourself to, it makes life rather awkward.
Yeah, it does, it really does. But I'm glad she's sort of like giving me a blessing, if you know what I mean, and I think I needed that.
Would you like me to edit that bit out of the blessing?
No, no, I think she did. You know what I'm saying, don't you? It's
Yeah.
just, she did. I'm sure she'd give me a blessing on that one. Just like, yeah, Mum, I understand what you're doing, and just take your time.
Right. Well, cheers.
Cheers. What's the Cooper's Lager like?
It's very nice, thank you.
Yeah, it's named after my granddad Cooper.
In fact, this for me is, as they say, is a hair of the dog. We did a bit of practice last night for this evening, and you can imagine one led to another, and before we knew where we were, the bell was ringing, and
Brilliant.
we were bouncing off the corridor walls back to our room.
So it's going to be a good reunion then, I think. It normally is.
I've seen the attendance list, and quite a few of the guys I remember from my time in the Navy, so
Brilliant.
be some old memories for me.
Brilliant, absolutely. Yeah, I think it'll be a nice evening, I think it will.
And if the viewers are wondering what we're referring to, this evening is the Royal Naval Clearance Diving Association's Northern Gathering, or the Northern Bash, and it's taking place in Gillian's pub, and shortly I will get Gillian to give us a walk around so you can see all the memorabilia and what we've got. Yeah, go ahead.
My name's Julie.
Sorry, Julie.
We haven't properly introduced ourselves, have we, really? You were just thrown into this with me.
Thanks for giving me a get out clause.
You're very welcome. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm terribly bad with names.
Oh, I am too, don't worry about it, I am too. So yeah, at the minute, you can see the poppy ceiling. There's 75,000 poppies stuck on the ceiling. And in the dawn I'd done 95,000. I was going for 100,000 and I never got there because I had to move.
Oh dear.
But I will get it done in the future, I'm sure.
I mean, that's a labour of love.
But it's lovely to look at as well. But there's such a peace in this building, it's unreal, you know, when I close on the night time and I just sit, it's unreal, it really is. It's such a safe place.
Well, I expect when you sit down in, as you say, peacefulness on your own,
Yeah.
and just look around, it gives you a great deal of satisfaction to know that you're responsible
Yeah.
for this and you put all your heart and love into it.
It does, it really does. And you're not really alone. I mean, there's a few stories as well. We're just looking at, see the para there?
Mm-hmm.
His family came when I was doing this room and they asked if they could name the room after him. His name is Lee Crichton. And I said yes. And out of respect, I'd just pasted one of the pictures on the wall, and that's in that silver frame there. You can just say see it. I pasted that on the wall. And when his family came up, they presented me, funny enough, with the same painting. Now, I didn't have an inkling that I was going to get that picture. So I put that on the wall, and then with that just being a pasted picture, I scraped it off. It's been printed over 4 times, and it keeps coming through the wall, so that's why I've stuck a frame on it. It's just weird. And when I took thousands and thousands of photographs down in the old Dunbar, and brought them all over here, and when I scraped them off, it never ever did that. I've never had ink come back through the wall the way that picture has, so I think it's just special. I think it's meant to stay there.
There's a message there.
I know. Well, all the pictures as well, like I say, there's a story to everything. All these photographs that I've got up, the pasted ones, I had them all up in the Don, and there's thousands of them. When I had to close the Don bar down, I've got a friend called Michael, and he was serving away still in Iraq during lockdown. He was away security. He said to me, take a photo of every picture, send it to me. I'll print it out when I'm on leave, I'll bring it over to you, and he did. So all these pictures as well, the pasted ones, have all been to Iraq. So there's a special story for everything. The memorabilia
Lots
as
of
well.
memories.
Lots and lots of memories. People bring their treasures in, you know, it can be anything from a button or a coin to a uniform. And it all goes on display. I put it all up on display. But it just slots in place. I don't look for like somewhere to put something, it just slots into place.
It finds its own way.
Yeah, it's strange, really
Like
is.
it's come home.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like to think. That it's come home.
Who's the Napoleonic looking picture?
That's from the Coldstream Guards. The Coldstream Guards do their meetings in here. I think he's one of their patrons, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, he's...
I'm sure they'll be pleased to hear me say that.
I should know because there's their standard. I actually do the meetings here, so I'm gonna get informed on that one. I think I'll have to ask them. But yeah, you can see there's just a lot of pictures and things, and it's special. It really is.
Well then, Julie, would you like to
Show
give
you
us the
around?
grand tour?
Yeah, definitely,
Quick wet of the throat.
definitely. I'm in the middle of covering the seats as well with flags at the minute, but I need some more flags to do that.
So for tonight's festivities, do you get a catering company in?
No, I do that myself.
You do it
I've already done all your food and your curries. Yeah, I've done all of that.
Oh, hot and cold?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, there's a vegetable curry, there's a chicken curry, and there's sandwiches, pies, pastries, things like that.
Oh, lovely. Sounds good.
So there's a lot of food.
No need to take evening meal at the
No,
hotel.
definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay. Well, I'll let you lead the way.
Come on,
and,
From here on, I will have to give a talk over commentary due to the royalty protected music playing in the background. Julie received a lot of memorabilia from the Victoria Cross Trust, and here you see a picture of the King, and during his coronation they had a lot of festivities that were attended by people from all over the world. These are the Northern Ireland crosses that Julie never got to finish in the Dunbar, and she still has a lot of pictures to put on crosses and join in the ranks of those that served and made the ultimate sacrifice. This gentleman wrote the PTSD that is on one of the tables upstairs that gives a greater understanding of the problem. This is a continuation of the Northern Ireland crosses, followed by the Northern Ireland Roll of Honour. This is the banner used on one of the protests signed by Rusty Furman, and he was Julie's patron until last year, and now Peter McAleese has stepped in. These are some of Julie's friends that she has met over the years, but sadly some of them are no longer with us.
So I've got some really special
For those who love teddy bears.
They're all little military teddy bears. The kids even bring them in as well. People collect them for me. So this is Cooper's Corner, flag room.
Oh, let me get back here.
This is the flag room. So this is more recreational. Or if I've got big events on, I'll put all the food on the tables here. This bar was made out of a snooker table. So I thought you'd made one of the lads based this. I put all the photographs on. You based it for me.
I can see the corner pockets.
Yeah. It's quite quirky actually. We needed a bar anyway in this room. And there's a treble barbecue out the back that was built by one of the veterans. We use that on opening days like Remembrance Sunday. But even uniforms, I mean, people that have them in the houses and they just want them to be on display for people to see. Chelsea pensioner, that's not long since come in. I had a group of Chelsea, they slept in the building as well. You got the key there, will you open it because I need to go? If you look at all the tables, they're all memorial tables as well.
Right.
Common stuff like making hand fashion.
Where's it going?
Very kind of session stuff.
1879 PC Wooler one is DC wearing that. That's from the Victoria Cross Trust.
1879.
1879.
Wow.
There's a Grenadier Guard sword in there that's 1871, and that's an heirloom, somebody's heirloom. They asked me to look after it for them. So as you can see, there is a lot of
The outside door is, yeah. Just open the gate.
Bersaglieri Italian. And this here is a gentleman who follows us from France. He got in touch with me one day and asked if I would like a flag from the Lancastrian disaster. Now, I didn't know what it was. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Right, biggest shipping disaster England's ever known, and it was blocked out by Winston Churchill. He ordered a blackout so nobody really got to hear about it, and there was about 5,000 people on that ship, and it was bombed in San Nazira, and they do a remembrance every year for it. And this gentleman asked if I would like the flag from that, so after I'd read up I went, I'm so proud to put that on display. This is the flag, and his dad had that in his attic.
Wow.
Yeah, he's on my Facebook page as well. So if we go out this way, this is all still up in the air, as you can see. The first thing I painted when I took the building on was Reggie. There he is, and he looks after the building. There's one on the outside and one on the inside. Obviously there was no windows whatsoever up here, and all this was just all falling. It was a mess, really was.
Work in progress.
Yeah, it still is now.
Oh, good old white end sign.
Yep, there you go. It's a big old one, that one, isn't it? I still need to get my scaffold and to put some up on this side. It's just a bit awkward to move around. The view from up there is fantastic.
HM in her younger days.
Yeah, absolutely lovely.
King Charlie. Oh, and the Queen Mother.
Yeah, that was when because we showed a funeral on big screen downstairs and all the veterans. That was very emotional that day. I mean, it's all I knew, you know, it's old Queen.
Yeah.
As you can see, this is all still work in progress. I don't think, as long as I'm alive, it's never going to be finished, because I'll just keep finding things to add to it as well.
And you chop and change as you go along.
I do. I do.
Oh, we've been in there.
Yeah. They're from the Somme. I got them from the Victoria Cross Trust.
I guess an organisation like the Victoria Cross Trust, they must have so much memorabilia that they can
They've moved as well. They've moved.
they can afford to loan stuff out
Yeah.
to people like yourself.
Yeah. As you can see, it's a big old building. So this picture here was signed by Lee Rigby's little boy Jack, when they came to visit us, and Rebecca Rigby.
And what was she saying about your granddad?
The boots. Someone's child wore these boots, which is actually true. And I did this little display in memory of my granddad Cooper. I mean, I've never served, but a lot of my family have. There's another one here as well. That's my mum. As you can see, there's a lot of photographs up as well. But it's a passion, and it's something that I'll never stop doing. Saying when you walk in, it's just so.
Thanks to Julie Cooper for the guided tour of the Don War Memorial Museum and Bar. That evening, her bar and museum was the venue for the Royal Navy Clearance Divers Association Northern Gathering, and we would all like to thank her for her hospitality and the lovely buffet she laid on. Now for a short movie clip from that evening that I think every Matlow will be able to relate to.
I was walking through the dockyard in a panic when I spied a guy old and grey. On his back he had his kit bag and his NBW-Graphics. And as I passed I heard him say, oh, I wonder, yes I wonder, did the Josman make a blunder when he made this judgment out for me? Oh, I've been a barracks stanchion and the old Tangle's mansion, and I'm always thinking going to the sea. Good morning, Jane.